understand each other and agree to disagree.
Amir, I think one thing that is so important in this day and age is that, well, we can see that the society is becoming very polarized, right? I mean, if someone has an affiliate...
به پادکست زعفرونی خوش اومدید. Let's go back to when you were a vegan. Were there any well-known or good quality vegetarian/vegan restaurants in your city?
At the time there were. So there was a restaurant called The Kind Company. They were a completely plant-based restaurant, very nice restaurant, did amazing cheeseburgers. I love burgers, that's why. And they used something called a Beyond Burger in it. And Amr, trust me, it was so similar to a beef patty in terms of the taste, and they were getting quite close in terms of texture as well. Another restaurant was called Watson's, which was actually based in the Meridian Mall. They did amazing chicken burgers, but they also did like really nice paninis and like chicken flatbread stuff. And when I say chicken, it's basically plant-based chicken that they were doing. So there were back then, but unfortunately, the market did not catch on. COVID hit, and both of these places actually then had to be closed down because, of course, not many people were turning up, and it wasn't as busy as it should be. Like with all the other companies that we are currently seeing, other vegan companies as well, that they are going down. So I'm not sure like if it's a Dunedin thing, because I know in other parts of the world, let's say like even if we say in Wellington or Auckland, you still see like some plant-based restaurants. In fact, I was in Wellington just a few days back, and there was a restaurant called Champagneria, and basically they did some amazing burgers. I love burgers. That's what I try to find. I also found some plant-based chicken sushi, which is unheard of in Dunedin. But still, I would say that in Auckland and Wellington, it's less as compared to in some really big cities such as London, because there the options were crazy.
That's sad, really. Like they want to go out and have food outside. I mean, they don't want to cook every day. They just want to chill out. I mean, there's no options for them, and that's very sad. And actually, that's really surprising for me, because I thought, the media is talking about stop killing animals, think about the sustainability. I figured somehow that the number of vegetarians and vegans will eventually continue to grow. But what you're noticing in a very small city, I mean, of course, we cannot really generalize it to other cities as well. But
yeah,
again, at least one cafe or one restaurant should be there to just serve people. And that shows that maybe the tendency is not that much. Maybe people, I don't know, start become caring less about the merits of a vegetarian/vegan diet.
Yeah, Amir, I would also like to note one point. I think the way to go forward for restaurants actually is to have a hybrid model where they serve both vegetarian, vegan, but also, meat-based meals. I think that actually I think that would actually make them last longer in the market. And you can see that although like there are no specific vegan restaurants, but if you go to most of the Asian restaurants or even Indian restaurants, you can find a few vegan dishes that are there. So I think that can be the way to go. I mean, opening only vegan restaurants, I think, can be quite risky, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course, of course. It requires a lot of care because they need to separate all the dishes, all the utensils, everything for the meals of the vegetarian and vegans. But I don't know, man. Some people are just reluctant to go in a restaurant that they can smell meat.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
So that's a tricky area. I mean, a restaurant can risk it, can do it. And for cafe, maybe it has a low risk level compared to a restaurant.
Yeah,
but
100%.
But yeah, no, I get your point. I understand.
But Amir, like if I was to just ask you, I know this you're asking me in this, but if I was to ask you if people are having a hybrid, if people go to a hybrid restaurant, vegans go to a hybrid restaurant, do you not think that there should be tolerance for people having other forms of meals as well? And you know what I mean?
Listen, I'm a fan of not being fanatic in any aspects of your life, okay? Whether it's food, whether it's exercise, the choice should be freely available for all types of needs. I mean, I'm not talking about a utopia, but maybe in a cafe, if I own a cafe, my own bakery, I will definitely have vegan cinnamon rolls.
Oh my God.
That's in your specialty.
Yeah, I love cinnamon rolls, especially yours. I loved your, and I miss your cinnamon rolls.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I bake my non-vegan cinnamon rolls, and you bake your majestic vegan cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will have both versions. I mean, the burger that you just mentioned, I'm really interested to try it out, really, to be honest. So that's my personal choice. I know that it comes with hurdles and, of course, with so many difficulties that needs to be overcome. But I believe that people shouldn't be really strict about what they believe, and they can be flexible. And the second, respect to other people's choice. I mean, if I respect to you are following a vegetarian diet, for example, and you should respect me as well. I mean, if you start cursing that, oh, you're killing animals, you're helping Earth to be doomed, you're one of the people who will be, I don't know, burned into the hell because of the damage that you're making to God's creatures. Well, that would be the last time that we go to a cafe. Even
fair enough.
Even in a hybrid cafe. But I respect your choice. You respect mine.
Yeah.
And that would be a beautiful world to go. I mean, and yeah, that's just my way to go. I prefer respect and flexibility.
Yeah.
عاشق زبان فارسیم.
حالا میخوایم که براش چند تا کلمه یاد بگیریم. مثل بابا.
Got a child interested in learning Farsi? With Oakland Farsi School, it's easy as pie. Enroll today at our website and see their program.
100% Amir. And the reason why I raised this is also because, and I'm not saying that, I mean, vegans are, of course, there are different kinds of vegans, but, you've heard reports where vegans would, some vegans would try to create chaos where meat is actually being served. So I think that is wrong, because meat eaters are not going to the vegan restaurants and being like, oh, you guys have got processed meat and it takes up so much energy to make them. You guys are destroying the earth or something like that. So I think there should be tolerance. And in fact, my wife, Jessie, is a vegan, and she has been vegan for nearly 4 years now. 4 years is a long time. And both of us are not divorced still. And I am a heavy meat lover now. So she has that respect and tolerance for the diet I have, and I have the respect and tolerance for her. Of course, I never let her cook my meat, and in fact, she would never cook it as well. So thing is, my cooking became better as well. So that was the benefit of that, like some of the dishes that I now cook. And and she feels, and she doesn't have a problem with me eating meat as well. So tolerance and love is important. We need to be like a big happy family, vegans and non-vegans.
Absolutely true. I mean, people should look at you two as role models, to be honest. I mean, you're living under a roof. So many people just got divorced, or they just couldn't tolerate each other's diet and they separated, just because the one wanted to force his or her own diet to another, and the other party, well, they wanted the freedom of choice. They couldn't tolerate it as well. So they ended their relationship or friendships. I mean, that's one thing that I think needs to be clarified more and more. I mean, instead of raising hatred over vegans, vegetarians, or meat lovers, we just try to understand each other and agree to disagree.
Amir, I think one thing that is so important in this day and age is that, well, we can see that the society is becoming very polarized, right? I mean, if someone has an affiliation, let's say you're a vegan, people start to look at you as a vegan and basically start to associate like lots of qualities with you. Similarly, some people can associate some kind of qualities with people with really carnivorous diets. Personally, I think if we start to see someone as, a vegan, and label them as that, or and just call them and just have this idea that, oh, this person is, then in some ways I also think it is dehumanizing them, because it in some ways is taking away from their other qualities. So we need to see the person as a whole, rather than seeing that person as having a certain opinion or following a certain diet. So this is what I think is one of the most important lessons of Tolerance 101.
I totally am with you in this regard. If you want to return to be a vegan again, what would be the reason this time?
I think, as we started this conversation on a very, very beautiful note, where you mentioned people can still exercise, people can still, have a really good diet. I mean, personally, I think, when you think about plant-based diets, you think about fiber quite a lot. Whereas in a completely carnivorous diet, you wouldn't find as much fiber. So, my own idea is that, you should have some meat on the plate, but you should also have lots of vegetables on the plate. And at the same time, you need to have like some form of carbs on the plate. Can be potatoes, or can be rice, or something like that. So I think in order to achieve health, a person doesn't necessarily have to be a vegan. I think if you're a vegan, you need to care about animal ethics and animal rights a lot, because animals are being mistreated in animal farm, in especially the way animal farming is being done. It's incredibly unsustainable. I mean, we hear about these reports, I read about them, that baby cows are actually separated from their mother cows. And these baby cows are actually crying. And that's the milk we are using. So we are in some ways stealing some cow's milk from that baby cow who deserved it. So basically, I think if someone cares about animal rights, that's what it should be about. But then again, it shouldn't be imposing upon other people. People should not impose that, oh, why is this guy like this? Does he not have a heart or something like that? Because another person can show a lot of heart in other areas as well. So I think if I go vegan again, and people's hearts change. You never know, like something you start to like, something starts to strike more with you. I don't know if it happens to you, but when I was a kid, I never used to cry when I watched Titanic. Maybe like I was 9 or 10 years old, I wouldn't cry. But then when I was 26 or 27 years old, and of course I was in a few relationships and stuff, then I knew the feeling, right? And so I started to cry when I watched Titanic. So basically, I think, if my heart changes, I would certainly do it for animal rights.
Cool. So you're returning to being a vegan because of the animal rights. In the beginning of your talk, you mentioned about a plate and the amount of the fiber that you had to take. And that was a really interesting point, actually, because you were eating more fiber, vegetables and fruits. You felt apparently more satiated. I mean, your need to just eat frequently started to become lower and lower and lower. And that just reminded me of the perfect plate or the healthy plate. I think WHO introduced it a couple of years ago. That was a model of the plates in every meal that you're eating that should contain half of the plate non-starchy, colorful vegetables, because each vegetables with each color code has different vitamins and different nutrients in it. A quarter of that plate should contain carbohydrates. You want to fill it with pasta, potato, rice, or this sweet potato that's really strange, kumara. I don't know. I don't like it. But anyway, so that should contain that. And the rest, which is the other quarter of the plate, should contain protein. So that protein can be the source of, I don't know, red meat or fish or chicken, or even for vegetarians, tofu. Okay. So this is the healthy plate that has been suggested by so many nutritionists as a plate that can really help you to have a balanced diet, to just keep you away from eating too much sweets, because around 3/4 of the plate is just filled with fiber, and it can really make you feel satiated for a long time.
Amir, like as you're mentioning, right, like having a high fiber diet and then a little bit of protein, I think it's also good for your like insulin levels throughout the day as well, your glucose levels throughout the day as well. So no, I completely agree that. And in terms of feeling satiated as well, I mean, if you have a lot of fiber, it's of course a nice feeling to have. Of course, this is another thing I forgot to mention to you, but when I went vegan, I also used to feel a little bit bloated because there could be too much fiber as well sometimes. So yeah, that is another thing I forgot to mention in the beginning.
I believe that's very dangerous, especially when you're living with someone else, because, during the night or beneath the blanket.
It is dangerous. I in fact was reading some very dangerous reports of I don't know why we are speaking about divorce so much, but two people were living, and the girl knew that the guy used to have a bloated stomach and would have some stuff going on, producing some sounds. But then after a while, initially she thought it was cute, but then after a while she was like, nah, this is too much, man.
Nope.
And then she decided to divorce him.
Based on a true story?
I haven't met the couple personally. But I should actually try to Facebook friend the names on the article and see if they are actually them, and ask them, hey man, like, was this true? And if that's sorry, my condolences.
Oh, listen, speaking of bloating, I read this article the other time, and it was talking about the side effects of bloating. I mean, it's not in every case, but it might happen. One of them was celiac disease.
Oh, really?
That's crazy. Or LI, the lactose intolerance.
Really?
Yeah, and IBS, the IBS is just the very famous syndrome. It's irritable bowel syndrome.
Wow.
Yeah, that could be caused of eating too much fiber. So
Yeah.
it's good to a certain amount,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
more than that, when you think that your stomach starts making some noises, and then a warm wind comes out of you, then you should be really concerned that, okay, maybe I'm eating too much fiber, or maybe something else is happening. So that's a sign. So actually, that's a good sign. Before shit hits the fan, that's a good news.
Like quite literally, the shit can hit the fan.
So if you go back to that couple, maybe that was a good sign. Maybe that could have saved one of them from getting IBS. But anyway, we are not here to judge.
That's true. Yeah, that's it. And is this old research or is this new research? It's super interesting. I mean, I didn't know about this.
This was pretty recent. I'll find it and I'll share you the article. I was quite surprised, but because I was reading about it, and you just mentioned about bloating, it just crossed my mind. Alrighty. For the last question, I'm going to ask you, what is your best recipe for a vegan/vegetarian diet?
That's a very difficult question, and I think, I'm sorry, I will have to be biased. I am a Pakistani person after all, and we love our lentils, and I love dal. I don't know if you've had much of it, but it's basically these how do you say it? It's like red in color, and red pulses, basically quite small. They're actually called moong dal. I don't know what are they called. They're called like red split peas or something like that. Red split lentils or something of the kind. I mean, if you just Google moong dal, MOAONG, for people who are listening to this podcast, they would know. If they Google it, it's super easy to make, Amr. It is incredibly comforting on a cold winter day, especially with winter coming around in Dunedin. I mean, you guys in Auckland, probably not much of a winter, but here it is. So that dal is super easy to make. Basically just fry onions, and basically just add the dal, add water, add a little bit of cumin, salt, red chili powder, and then let it cook and let the magic happen. And the dal is ready. And turmeric, of course. Don't forget to put turmeric. And that is my favorite recipe, and I love having it with rice, basically.
Oh, yeah, thanks for sharing it. Do you have to soak it beforehand or not?
Not really. This particular dal is super easy to cook, but it really depends on the kind of dal you're cooking. So chana dal, another kind of dal, you have to soak it beforehand, and it can take a little bit of time for it to cook. Chickpeas, same case. And mostly they would be cooked in pressure cooker anyways. This you can even cook in a pot, so you don't need to have a pressure cooker. And some people I know feel afraid of pressure cookers as well, because shit happens, man. Shit can hit the fan.
No doubt about it, brother. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. I'll definitely look it up and find it. I'm really interested to try this recipe out. Hey, listen, Zohaib, thank you really for coming to Safrani Podcast Studio. It was nice I mean, it's always nice to have a chat with you over different topics, but this particular topic, I really enjoyed it. And thanks for being my honored guest. It's really, really, really appreciated. Thank you.
Amir, I really enjoy your work. I love all the work that you do. Your work has a lot of soul, I have to say. And it is this soul that people love connecting to. And I'm one of those people who love connecting to the soul of your work, whether it be your photography, whether it be your podcasting style, your energy, your smile, your warmth. It's all amazing. So really, it's an honor for me to be on the podcast, The Prince.
No, thank you very much, Zohaib. That's very kind of you. Very kind words. قربونت برم زهیب جون. And that's for you.
Kush gale booze bade.
No, that's wrong. No, not here.
That's wrong. What did you say?
Oh my God. I leave it to the audience, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, listeners, whoever listened to this podcast. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Insightful, fun, and engaging between me and my brother, Zohaib. And I hope whatever decision you make, okay, you want to go on a diet, you want to be a pescatarian, you want to be a vegetarian, you want to be a vegan, you want to be a meat lover, do it. Have some reasons, have some research, and talk to people, okay? Just live the life that you want, but have some reasoning behind it, because in that case, you won't be a narrow-minded, you will be open to experience new things. I hope you reach to whatever desire that you want. Stay tuned for the next episode. I don't know when, but it'll arrive. Cheers and Namihi. The content that you just heard was from Saffroni Podcast. You can follow me on social media under the saffroni.podcast everywhere. YouTube, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Samsung Podcasts, here, there, everywhere. Stay tuned.